meaning. Words cannot express the feeling of love like my garment I wear. Yeah. In the cold, the warmth of care. It is the love of truth, not a burden I bear. Taste buds exploding with the calmness of healing, a religious experience. Third eye expanding, I am eating, yet I'm not there. I am taste, I am buds, I am aware. A prayer to the Almighty who is everywhere. Sail the boat, cheer down the river. Life throw away envy, greed, throw away strife. That your journey be like butterflies in the light of smiles on the dancing sun rays. Come to my garden, walk. I have moved to this home of immortals. While honeysuckles bloom everywhere. In the front garden, orchids make a playground for pious hummingbirds. I sit on a mat and throw teacups in this cool spring morning. Beyond the window railing, a narrow path winds down, disappearing below this mountain. I ride listening to crickets chant, sitting among my disorderly piles of books. I take a leisure walk down this narrow path, chanting poems to the moon. I drift at ease in the care of this soft breeze. Oh, the love of Jah, children upon the mountain chanting. Children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, the love of Jah. Children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, yeah. Sail the boat, cheer down the river. Life throw away envy, greed, throw away strife. That your journey be like butterflies in the light of smiles under dancing sun rays. Come to my garden, walk. I have moved to this home of immortals. While honeysuckles bloom everywhere. In the front garden, orchids make a playground for pious hummingbirds. I sit on a mat and throw teacups in this cool spring morning. Beyond the window railing, a narrow path winds down, disappearing below this mountain. I ride listening to crickets chant, sitting among my disorderly piles of books. I take a leisure walk down this narrow path, chanting poems to the moon. I drift at ease in the care of this soft breeze. Oh, the love of Jah, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, yeah. Rasta, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, the love of Jah, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, the love of Jah, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh. With the taste of goodness, Judge, him bless me. Words cannot express the feeling of love like my garment I wear. In the cold, the warmth of care. It is the love of truth, not a burden I bear. Taste buds exploding with the calmness of healing, a religious experience. Third eye expanding. I am eating, yet I'm not there. I am taste, I am buds, I am aware. A prayer to the Almighty who is everywhere. Sail the boat, cheer down the river. Life throw away envy, greed, throw away strife. That your journey be like butterflies in the light of smiles and the dancing sun rays. Come to my garden, I have moved to this home of immortals. while honeysuckles bloom everywhere. In the front garden, orchids make a playground for pious hummingbirds. I sit on a mat and float teacups in this cool spring morning. Beyond the window railing, a narrow path winds down, disappearing below this mountain. I write, listen to crickets chant, sitting among my disorderly piles of books. I take a leisure walk down this narrow path, chanting poems to the moon. I drift at ease in the care of this soft breeze. Oh, the love of Jah, children upon the mountain chanting. Sail the boat, cheer down the river life, throw away envy, greed, throw away strife. That your journey be like butterflies in the light of smiles, under dancing sun rays. Come to my garden, walk and move to this home of immortals, while honeysuckles bloom everywhere. Children upon the mountain chanting. With a taste of goodness, Jah him bless me. Words cannot express the feeling of love like my garment I wear. Yeah. In the cold, the warmth of care, it is the love of truth, not a burden I bear. Taste buds exploding with the calmness of healing, a religious experience. Third eye expanding, I am eating, yet I'm not there. I am taste, I am buds, I am aware. A prayer to the Almighty who is everywhere. Sail the boat, cheer down the river. Life, throw away envy, greed, throw away strife. That your journey be like butterflies in the light of smiles on the dancing sun rays. Come to my garden, walk. I have moved to this home of immortals, while honeysuckles bloom everywhere. In the front garden, orchids make a playground for pious hummingbirds. I sit on a mat and throw teacups in this cool spring morning. Beyond the window railing, a narrow path winds down, disappearing below this mountain. I ride listening to crickets chant, sitting among my disorderly piles of books. I take a leisure walk down this narrow path, chanting poems to the moon. I drift at ease in the care of this soft breeze. Oh, the love of Jah, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, the love of Jah, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, the love of Jah, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, yeah. Sail the boat, cheer down the river. Life, throw away envy, greed, throw away strife. That your journey be like butterflies in the light of smiles under dancing sun rays. Come to my garden, walk. I have moved to this home of immortals, while honeysuckles bloom everywhere. In the front garden, orchids make a playground for pious hummingbirds. I sit on a mat and float teacups in the school spring morning. Beyond the window railing, a narrow path winds down, disappearing below this mountain. I ride listening to crickets chant, sitting among my disorderly piles of books. I take a leisure walk down this narrow path, chanting poems to the moon. I drift at ease in the care of this soft breeze. Oh, the love of Jah, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, yeah. Rasta, children upon the mountain chanting. Oh, the love of Jah.
For a while, Katt Williams, the comedian, has been riding high, enveloped by the purported orb of algorithms as being the foremost exponent of ancient culture. Time we burst that bubble of lies given wings by the likes of Joe Rogan and other gatekeepers. Katt Williams, in his ignorance, said of the Anunnaki wristband, it was a watch, and said the emblem he wears around his neck was same thing. Here we will set the record aright, as written in the 1982 book by myself, Coral Castle Mystery Solved, and the Art of the Anunnaki. Celebrities are not revolutionaries. They are pretenders, mere gatekeepers, tap dancers, step and fetch it, etc. Okay, let us dive into the ocean of black truth deeply. First of all, should note that the necklace Katt Williams wears looks nothing like the so-called Anunnaki wristband or watch. First, here in this cipher, we must take a look at the B, because the Anunnaki art in question deals with anti-gravity. The B is a symbol of the Maya symbol called by the French fleur de lis, or fleur de lis, as we say here in Florida, literally lily flower. And we can connect easily the bee to the flower. This symbol found by the French when they came to now what is known as northern Florida, the Fort Caroline area, was used by the Olmec Maya called Mayacan in Florida. It was a symbol of royalty, the fleur de lis. This is also a symbol of ancient Anunnaki technology known as anti-gravity. Note that Olmec and Anunnaki are the same people. Enki or Thoth, same person, left Egypt around 3113 BC and traveled to Central and North America with his boys. Here he was known as Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent. Next to the larynx in the bumblebee's throat, there's a tiny hollow tube that acts as a resonance cavity that accumulates frequency. When the bee starts beating its wings, it goes, i.e., it does this to accumulate frequency, which bounces back and forth in the resonator cavity until it reaches the same frequency of the earth, known as the Schumann frequency. Once the bee reaches the same frequency as its surroundings, it evens out into what is known as 0 point. When anything reaches 0 point, you can then change the energy. The bee is now free from the gravitational influence around it, creates its own little magnetic bubble, and hovers around. There are some lizards and hummingbirds that do the same thing. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself of this time. We call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. I am Ital Iman. The death mask of the 18th dynasty pharaoh Tutankhamun, which famously depicts the pharaoh adorned in alternating black and yellow stripes or bands, just like a bee. This is the technology of the Anunnaki, anti-gravity, and that's what the so-called Anunnaki handbags, anti-gravity devices. You are now in tune. I brought this information to the public in 2018 from my studies done in the year 1982. The fleur de lis, or flower de luce, is a stylized lily in French. Fleur means flower, and lis means lily. That is used as a decorative design or motif of many Catholic saints of France, particularly Saint Joseph, are depicted with a lily. Now, we must get into the bee, which is very important here. And from the bee, we get our science. Chromosomes are the structures that contain the genes of an organism. Bees have about 15,000 genes. Most animals normally have two sets of chromosomes. One set comes from the mother and one from the father. They are called diploids or diploids. Di means two, and ploid stands for chromosome. In people, we have 46 chromosomes. We get 23 from the mother's egg and 23 from the father's sperm. Bees have a different number of chromosomes. Female workers and queens have 32. 16 are contributed by the queen's eggs, and 16 come from the drone's sperm. Since drones hatch from unfertilized eggs, they only have the 16 chromosomes that were in the egg. Drones are haploids because they only have one set of chromosomes. You'll notice that the egg can only carry half of the queen's 32 chromosomes, so she can only pass on half of her genes to her offspring. Each egg contains a unique collection of her genes, so each egg is different. Drones, on the other hand, only have 16 chromosomes to begin with, so each sperm must contain all the genes of the drone. This means that each sperm from the drone is exactly identical. They are clones. This is different from most other animals, where each sperm is unique, just like each egg is. Now, Pay close attention, for you are now in tune. And remember, my words are audible to spiritual ears only. The wristband worn by Anunnaki, mistaken for watch, yet it has much to do with time as a symbol. At its essence, the 16-petal chrysanthemum, directly related to Surah of Holy Quran, i.e. chapter 16 of Holy Quran. The Anunnaki handbags and wristband is synonymous, representing time, as in, yes, we will return. Anti-gravity. The flower points us to the bee, which you will learn of in this mystery of Coral Castle solved. Go on your search engines and order that book, Coral Castle Mystery Solved, Ital Iman. There you will learn the flower also reveals that the Anunnaki introduced the flower to China first. But these Chinese people at that time were black. In my teachings, it is taught that old Maya mixed with the Tibetans or Chinese, and from that union, the Hopi Indian tribe evolved by having the same rituals as the Dogon of West Africa. This is of the wisdom of the scatterers of Surah or chapter 51, Holy Quran. So the magic of my work is each of my books are connected to the other in some type way. Asked what flower represent their country, most Japanese are likely to point to the cherry blossoms. Actually, though, the official Japanese flower is the 16-petal chrysanthemum used for the imperial seal. Japan has not legally defined national flower or seal, but you will see the imperial seal on the cover of Japanese passports, on some Japanese coins, and over the doors of Japanese diplomatic facilities overseas. Chrysanthemums originated in China and were imported into Japan as a medicinal plant in the Nara period, 710 to 94. The chrysanthemum featured frequently in the Kokin Wakashu anthology of poetry, compiled in the Heian period, 794 through 1185. The chrysanthemum is the symbol of the Anunnaki wristband, notating royalty. Okay, this flower, the chrysanthemum, features frequently in the Kokin Wakashu anthology of poetry compiled in the Heian period, 794 through 1185, suggesting that it was a popular flower in the imperial court, not only for medicinal purposes, but also for viewing. It is believed the chrysanthemum became the imperial symbol when the Emperor Gautama, 1180 to 1239, chose the flower as his personal emblem. You are now in tune. Florida, we must go here, is Atlantis. If Atlantis is to be found, or if Atlantis is found, how can we verify its correct location? Plato gave us the story of Atlantis, but during the time it flourished as a kingdom, sailors in Europe were using grid coordinates to travel to and from Atlantis. The grid coordinates were recorded and passed down through the ages long before Plato was born. It was written in the Sanskrit and part of the Mahabharata, or the oldest Hindu Puranas. A passage in the Vishnu Purana locates Atlantis between the grid coordinate 24 to 28 degrees north latitude, which inevitably leads us to North America. The 24 degrees coordinate leads us to Miami, and the 28 degree coordinate leads to Cape Canaveral, Florida. This puts Florida's plane in between the coordinates. Other details and ancient sources describing Atlantis can be found in our work, in our blogs. But we mention that because currently everybody's waking up saying that we are the indigenous. We were here before Columbus. Yes, we was. No doubt about it. But my personal research found that Atlantis was in the Tampa Bay area. And they use artificial sand called maca to raise it up out of the ocean. Now, this sand, maca, is artificial. It is the official sand of Florida. A few years ago, I believe it was 2020, we went down that area around Tampa Bay and checked the soil there. It's like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of miles of that sand. It's artificial. No other sand in the world is like that sand. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself at this time. We call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. Flora de Lis, or Flora de Lis, the flower that represents the imperial seal. You could hear Florida, which means place of the flowers. So here in Florida is a very special place. It is the place where the only gopher's wood can only be found here, the wood that the Bible says that Noah built his ark. And there is a white boy in cyberspace that brought the information. But your brother Ital Iman, and you could check the Holy Book of Wonder if you think I'm lying. I brought that information forward in 1982. I brought that information forward. I get right back with you. I brought that information forward in 1982. I brought that information forward. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself this time. We call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. So check the work out here at the Rastafari Mystery School. The most important problem with realistically designing, which is why you're asked a question about flying machines, winged humanoids. We're talking about angels, because along with that wristband, you see black men with wings. So we know that genetically, for instance, I'll explain to you like this. The bee's wings are his body is too heavy. The wings are too light to move the body. So there has to be some technology. There has to be some technology. So we told you how next to the larynx in the bumblebee's throat, there's this tiny hollow tube that acts as a resonant cavity. So when he flaps his wings, he changed the gravity around him. So the Anunnaki drawings is just showing us the technology of the Anunnaki, how they move the great stones, how they lift the stones, pineal power, sound vibration, and other technology. So basically, that's what the uh, bag is about, and that's what the wristband is about. It's just art showing you, but you have to get inside the art. You have to know the code. So Katt Williams don't know anything about that. All those millions of books he read since he was 4 years old, and he don't know anything. He just came out. What those people know is that the masses are ignorant, and they will believe anything, and they always follow celebrities. So we hope we have cleared up a little bit here for you. And all you got to do is check our workout. You are now in tune. On the one, the force itself. This time we call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming.